He has very publicly criticized the culture of American soccer.
Hey, the players are bought in. Hey, your front office staff, why don't you buy in?
Nothing is more important than the culture and passion around the game.
I'm not sure if you saw this. Mauricio Pochettino posted an inspirational message on Instagram and tagged U.S. Soccer. I'm not necessarily sure if it was meant to inspire the players or maybe it was a little note to U.S. Soccer, and that's why it's today's top topic.
This is the top topic.
So, Pochettino, let's get the message up on screen.
So this is interesting, right? Because it's his handwriting. I was able to confirm that by going back and Googling Mauricio Pochettino handwriting.
Alexis doing his forensic research.
Let me tell you something. You don't want that in your search history, turns out, but I'm willing to do it for the show. It says culture. This is the quote that he posted. The title is
this is an IG story, by the way, for anybody who is not just listening to it. It's an IG story, and it's
on his personal account.
On his personal account, and it's of a whiteboard, and he wrote this on.
I'm not sure if it's a whiteboard or a white piece of paper because there's no run on the marker, but those are the best markers I've ever seen on a whiteboard. If it is, the title is "Culture Eats Strategy for Breakfast," and then the quote is means in quotes that no matter how brilliant your business strategy is, if your team culture isn't aligned with or if it's toxic, your strategy is going to fail. Culture is the collective behaviors, attitudes, beliefs, and values that drive a team. So it's a little cheesy.
A little cheesy, yeah.
Right? It's a cat holding onto a branch,
a little
you
meme,
know?
That strong meme vibes.
Yeah. It's got some meme vibes. But I want to be able to read a little bit further into it because very clearly you could tell this is sort of like his ethos. You know what I mean? You could tell that this is what he's trying to push across to the team. This is post a very successful match against Ecuador. Well, yes, we drew against Ecuador, but who cares about results? It's a friendly. Everyone knows Christian and I are on the same page there.
It's very successful, but it's just a friendly. So
yeah.
I don't. You're saying both of the things.
Yeah, because what you wanted to see from this team, I think we all saw, right? We saw a much more cohesive team. We saw a team that was willing to do, be brave and try different things. And, the connection between the players seemed very confidence building. And even just me as a fan, I'm walking away from that going like, yeah, now I do feel more confident going up against better competition than I did certainly after the Gold Cup, if you will. So when I see this, the first thought that comes into my mind is maybe the players are already on this page and maybe this is hey, the players are bought in. Hey, your front office staff, why don't you buy in? And not to suggest that not everyone is bought in, but maybe this is maybe we should be a little bit more hand-holdy, a little bit more cohesive as a unit inside and outside, because we talk about this when it comes to regular clubs, right? Like the fish thinks from the head. You know what I mean? Like if the front office isn't in harmony with the first team, first team can't possibly win. Manchester United is a great example of that. Maybe this is pointing back at the folks in the suits, not the folks in the kits.
I would, because Pochettino wrote this, my guess is that it's a little bit of an indictment on everyone. I think it's an indictment on the players, the front office.
You think it's an indictment?
An indictment of he has very publicly criticized the culture of American soccer, where he's obviously aware that it's not the primary sport and that the way people care about it and support it is different than his native Argentina, right? It's pointless to compare, but he is trying to bring that level of culture, and I think this is what a statement like this kind of implies, of just like that. Nothing is more important than the culture and passion around the game. That is what breeds the rest of the success.
All right, so I think you and I may be on the same page here. You mean as opposed to, hey, we're making a lot of money. Look how much money's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The expensive ticket cost and whatnot. I don't know if you saw, he went to, I believe it was Texas, a Texas university, whatever the burnt,
A&M, I
the
think.
burnt orange, the Longhorns
Texas
guys.
A&M,
yeah, Texas. Okay, so is it Texas A&M?
No. Oh no, it's just University
of Texas. Yeah. So he went to a game.
I think it's like maroon or something.
I mean, why are there so many schools in Texas? So one of them is Longhorns. The other one's like, don't you dare do that. I don't know, there's a lot. But anyway, he was at the burnt orange one, University of Texas, and he was on TV. They brought him on TV to do a sideline thing. And he said, I love this culture. I wish U.S. men's national team games were more like this. And part of me was like, I get that college football is probably the closest to a European or a South American sports feeling, right? Because
that fanaticism,
shirts off and everyone's singing and dancing to the same thing. And it feels a lot more like, football does it in South America. But also, they don't pay a lot of money to go in those games. And that's why you get that atmosphere. If you're a student, I don't know if you get free tickets. Carter, you might know. You don't get free tickets, but you get really cheap tickets if you're a student. So maybe he's sort of making a note about that. Like, hey, look what happens when we don't charge $400 a seat. Huh?
Right.
Well, suddenly you get people that are spirited. It makes me think of the difference between a Jets game and a Giants game. Jets games are very loud and boisterous, and certainly you don't get a soccer atmosphere at it. But you go to a Giants game, and it's a bunch of 65-year-old dudes sitting there because who else can, one, afford those tickets, and two, they've had season tickets for 40 years. They got them from their grandfather. You know what I mean? So the atmosphere is dead. Maybe he's talking about that.
I don't necessarily expect Pochettino to change the entire face of U.S. soccer from fans to the federation, but I do expect you to hit this like button. Hit the like button right now. Yeah, it's. I think he's talking about kind of like all these things. The job of the U.S. men's national team coach and arguably the women's national team coach, but there's like a little bit.
I feel like it's a completely different subject because that atmosphere is a little different.
It's different, but also
they breed so much more success.
The success makes it the job a little bit not necessarily easier, but there's different responsibilities, right? Because
men's national team is, can we do something?
You can
women's national team is like, you better win.
You better win, but it's like the best way to promote the women's soccer is by winning, and they are very successful at that. It's just, if we are trying to connect the dots, with this IG story, it does feel a little bit, it's a little, to me, it's just like a little corny. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I'm like, okay, like this ain't for me, right?
Right. Like, actually, I'm fasting, so I don't really eat breakfast.
I'm not.
Also, why for breakfast?
Sure.
You could have just said eat strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast, I don't understand. Are you trying to say like it's easy to take down?
Or like it's a lighter meal to get the day going?
Yeah. Or it's very important. You better eat this one.
It's like, it's a little, we were like kind of talking beforehand of just like the age range in the U.S. men's national team is like, from 18 years old to Tim Reams.
Right. Tim Ream is he's
the outlier.
Everyone's like 27 is the oldest, and then Tim Ream is their dad.
It's like, maybe for them, they might be like, wow, Poch, you blew my mind with this.
Right.
Okay, I didn't know we had a philosopher as the men's national team.
Damn. Mauricio Poche Socrates.
Okay, Jay Shetty. Yeah. I didn't know we were gonna get one of these gems. So it's I don't know. I don't know how much he need. I'm fine with him writing this and doing this. I don't know how much he needs to share it on his IG.
But the fact that we're having sort of like a much more relaxed conversation about this is because the team looks better. If the team was losing and he posted this, we'd be like, why are you focusing on this right now?
It's not about diets,
no,
bro. I don't care who eats what.
Goals eats strategy for dinner or brunch, whatever one you're into. We'd be saying something wilder. But
what about tapas? What are we in tapas?
Is it small plate breakfast? Are we sharing? Is it family style? I don't know. Even Clint Dempsey even said like he's feeling a lot more confident about this team based on the draw to Ecuador. Like everything seems to be kind of coming together at the right time and the right pace. So something like this, a message like this now, we can look at it and go, ooh, what does he mean versus, like get right after it.
Yeah. I guess I don't know what to think about. We saw do we have the quote from Balogun as well? Florian Balogun.
This was an interview he did with The Guardian.
Yeah, after the game, mentions what he appreciated about Pochettino, and he goes on to say, quote...
This is from Doug McIntyre.
Doug McIntyre from Fox Soccer said, he doesn't want to coach this, and quoting Balogun, he says, quote, he doesn't want to coach an attacker how to beat his fullback in a 1v1 position. He knows you're at this level because you're good enough, and he wants you to bring your ideas forward and to try things. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. So I would say there's a lot more freedom in an attacking sense.
You know what? The best we've seen Balogun before this Mauricio Pochettino run was, again, with BJ Callahan, who probably, who the team did feel freer and more fun and more free flowing under him. And then to see these quotes were like, he doesn't want us he doesn't want to teach us how to attack 1v1. He knows, hey, we're at a certain level where we can do it on our own. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but this feels like he's comparing Pochettino to what Greg Berhalter did. And maybe Greg Berhalter was needed when these players were very, very young in that post-2018 world where, we don't qualify. Now he's got these kids who are just starting out their European careers or just starting to get accolades, and he needs to bring them together. And that's why I thought Mauricio Pochettino would be sort of the good next step for these players, which is someone to say, okay, I see what you've done so far, and now I'm going to give you the keys to the house now. I'm going to let you do your own thing, and if you make a mistake, we'll learn from it. And that's clearly what's happening. But that's why I think these players are like, yeah, I know culture eats strategy for breakfast, and I'm now believe all these things, and we're cohesive and we're unified in this belief. We now understand what you want from us, and we now understand how to move forward. Maybe it's everyone else he's trying to get, because I think if you look at what the question that was posed, right? Can he fix, what's going on in U.S. soccer? Can he fix the issues within U.S. soccer? I think this is what the problem is with U.S. soccer. From an outside perspective, without knowing, is that it seems like there's a business strategy, which is to say, like, we need to make money because we have a lot of things to pay for, right? They're a nonprofit. There's a lot of people who need to get paid. So we need to make all this money, and there's potential to make a lot of money. But at the same time, you have this responsibility to grow the sport. And maybe there's taking a step back from the business approach and doing some things for sort of the holistic part of U.S. soccer.
I mean, you're saying...
Did anyone think I would say any of this?
You're saying a whole lot of things. I don't think Pochettino's going to fix any of this.
You don't think so?
I don't think this.
You don't think hiring him allows him to sort of shine a light on what's missing, both on a business perspective as well?
Nope.
Why not?
No, I just think I kind of what I said about the women's national team. If he wins, that changes everything. If all this other stuff,
you don't think the folks at U.S. Soccer paid, what is it, $6 million
a year? Yeah,
$6 million a year. They're not looking at him and saying this guy is much more of an expert on the way the sport works in general. And if he offers us some advice, whether we take it or not, at least we know it's coming from a slightly more experienced point of view. You don't think so at all?
No, I don't think they are looking to him for that macroscopic. How do we change how do we change the look of the perception of the federation?
Guy known for developing youth talent. You don't think so?
No, I don't think. I mean, look at the results.
You don't think there's why? Okay, I need to understand why you don't think so. You don't think they're smart enough to accept it, or you think they're just like, you think they're naive?
I think they would hope that happens, but those outcomes only come with success. Pochettino's not going to do or say anything to inspire the entire federation at every level to all of a sudden change how they do things. I mean, we've seen the way the councils vote all the time, the pay to play. There's too many fundamental structural issues that Pochettino, as just one person and the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, they are not going to change.
You don't think Klinsmann changed some of those things a little bit
by being mad at the federation and how things work?
You don't think it worked? You don't think he was very open about wanting to get kids to go out to Europe earlier, and you don't think that shift kind of happened? You don't think he caused a little bit of a shock by picking players in the second division, picking a player out of college to play for the U.S. men's national team, and sort of the shockwaves that caused, and some of the positive that came out from under that? It sort of normalized some of that behavior. You don't think Mauricio Pochettino
and then we missed the World Cup in 2018. I don't
Sure, not necessarily completely. His fault.
It's going to affect things. Who is exactly to say whether the changes are positive or negative? It's like you may want players to go play in Europe, but what are the outcomes from that?
Regardless of whether it's positive or negative. You don't think he ushered in some changes, and you don't think Mauricio Pochettino
they're going to usher the same thing? They're going to usher changes, but how impactful are these changes going to be? I'm not looking for Pochettino to do this personally. I want the U.S. men's national team to do well at the World Cup, and then that's how I will grade Pochettino's time.
I think at the end of the day, that's
anything else he does. I love the behind the scenes USMNT videos of him coaching the players and saying all the things, and I can only speak subjectively. From my opinion, Pochettino doesn't hit me in this like inspirational guy, like he knows how to really like get to. I'm not saying that he doesn't know how to do that. It's just like for me, that's not what I've never met him. Maybe if I meet him, I might change my opinion.
I think you can take what other players have said about him, right? And you can take what players that came up with him, and maybe in his strongest run when he was at Tottenham. It seems to me like, especially at Southampton, his ability to coach youth players and inspire youth players to play better, and you see it with Dele Alli. He's never been the same since Mauricio Pochettino was not by his side. I think that's kind of what you can draw, is that this is what his thing is. So yeah, no, I've never met him either, right? But if I'm going to take players that played for him at their word, then yeah, he is his ability to inspire. I think what him and Matt Crocker together are trying to do is, or at least hopefully what's, an adjustment or an added piece to their hiring.
Yes, Crocker is the CEO of
the director of sport, director of sport or whatever.
Yeah. For the US
soccer,
soccer federation. Yeah.
So I think with both of them being hired, hopefully what they do is they shine a light on some of the blind spots within U.S. soccer, right? Because I feel like U.S. soccer has done a tremendous job so far, regardless of whether you like what they've done, everything they've done, where we're at. From the women and the men's perspective of right now, they've done a really good job, right? They've corrected some of their wrongs with the equal pay, whether they were forced to or not. Where we are today is a better place than we were 5-10 years ago. So I'm happy with where we're at now. There's still blind spots moving forward where, especially if we compare our federation to other nations, other footballing nations. So can those two guys be like, hey, along with the U.S. women's national team coach, who also isn't from here but has a lot of experience with U.S. soccer and coaching in the U.S., can those three folks sit here and go, hey, some of the things we're not doing which would really help X, Y, Z? Yeah, success on the pitch, success as a federation, that's the most important thing. But that 1A, that's super important as well. And if you could sit here and go, here's some things that would help this project be even more successful in 5 to 10 years, I want them to be able to do that.
Sure. I mean, I guess I put that responsibility on Crocker over the two coaches. I mean, that's literally their job.
Yeah, for sure.
Much
but I think
more than
to suggest that they don't need to be involved in that is also
I'm not suggesting that.
A little foolhardy.
Don't expect it. I literally don't expect it from them. And
Right.
Great if they want to do little some extra credit and do some of that stuff. Amazing. Would love to see that. For Pochettino, the men's national team has to do well at the World Cup. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I could care less.
Are you more confident today than when the day he was hired that the U.S. men's national team will do well in the World Cup?
No, I think I was more confident when he got hired because it did feel like this generational signing of a coach. And then the reality hits of like he's just a person and he has to get all these people on board to do this. So
that's kind of crazy. I'm way more confident today than I was the day he was hired.
I'm very happy about the US Ecuador game. I think they played really well. So that keeps me in like a little bit higher hopes. But outside of that, I just think he's a normal dude, and all he has to do is pick the right players, get them inspired, get them focused, get them organized, and with that, I think they can do well at the World Cup.
Well, get ready for some scrambled eggs and culture.
Can't wait.
The U.S. national team.
They pair well together. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we're gonna chat with the one and only Jess Fishlock of the Seattle Reign. So let's get to that right after this. Another just rotating board of just incredible superstars, and we're absolutely thrilled to be joined.
The best of the best are on this show. This is another example.
Just a legend, especially in women's soccer, in NWSL. We've seen her play plenty of times. And
Let me tell you something. We get in a huddle, and this person tells me to do something. I'm doing it, and I'm doing it to the best of my ability because I know the heat that's gonna follow.
We know a leader when we see one.
Yeah.
The one and only of the Seattle Reign and the Wales national team. Absolute legend. Honored to have her on the show. Jess Fishlock. Jess, what's up? How are you doing?
Hi guys. Thanks for that introduction. I'm doing good, thanks.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, like you can understand how impactful somebody is by how their friends react to requests they make. And Christian and I are very good friends with Ali Krieger, and we were with her during her retirement and her last match. We were partying with her afterwards, and the pressure that her and some of her other friends like Megan Rapinoe felt in getting to your wedding on time. And was immense. Like, this is your day, and they are so worried about if you're comfortable with the time their plane lands, is one of my favorite things to see. And I'm like, yo, Fishlock, she putting the pressure on them, bro.
No, I think that's more to the point of they knew that it was going to be a good party, and they probably just wanted to get to the party on time. But no, yeah, they obviously in that in that day, Pino hurt herself, and I went in after the game and saw P and saw P's family, and the first thing Pino's mother said to me was, "Oh, she'll be at your wedding. Don't worry about what's happening." And I was like, I don't think that is what we need to be speaking
Right,
about right now, but thank you so much.
No, I mean, that is I think a testament to how much you are adored and
Mhm.
appreciated throughout the league. I know, players have all give their all for the growth of a league and stuff like that. And then, you develop friendships, fans start to show that adoration as well. But there is, I mean, I think these recent Euros as well, and you scoring for Wales, and you could see how meaningful it is. I mean, and now where you are in your career, do you think about that stuff more, about the impact, not only that you are going to leave, but that you are currently leaving?
I think, yeah. To answer your question in a short way, yes, you do. I think that as you get, your career gives you different things at different times, and your mind is in a different place at different times. I definitely think the Euros for Wales was one of those kind of moments where you are a part of something that is so, so, so much bigger than yourself. Um, and you get to enjoy that, but also you get to play and do what you love at the same time. And it's kind of like, it's its own separate experience, really. Um, so yeah, you do definitely think differently when you get towards
Well,
the.
is there what was the biggest sort of surprise after the Euros? Like, a lot of times people get a text from somebody that you didn't expect. I don't know, royal family type thing.
Or
I don't
you
know
get
where
referenced in some weird
you're in a
speech.
you become a Jeopardy question, or
Seriously.
is there anything
No,
that happened?
no, honestly, not for me specifically. What was fun for me was I got to actually go home for a couple days after the Euros, which I never really get to be home when we do something great, because obviously normally we're always in season. So it's like we do something great and then you're on a flight the next day and you're playing in Orlando, 24 hours later.
You're chasing
Just like,
Barbara Banda around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What the hell is this? I should be
I'm
celebrating.
like, wait, we just did
Yeah.
something.
Why is Marta running past me? I should be
Yeah,
having a cocktail in my hand.
exactly. So I actually got to go home for a couple days, and that was special because you got to see and feel um, what we'd done in actually our country. So that was really special. But other than royal family or whatever, I'm Welsh.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't sure.
I kind of figured. Actually, you being Welsh, you might be the perfect person to ask. I know you're from Cardiff, if I'm not mistaken.
I am.
But did you ever, Americans, for the most part, get 2 weeks off for vacation. Did you think you'd ever see a time where Americans would use part of their 2-week yearly vacation to go to Wrexham? Isn't that insane?
Some
dude?
people, they want a vacation there. It's a good holiday.
Talk to me, Wrexham. This got to be shocking,
I'm sure any American going to Wrexham will have a eye-opening experience. But in saying that, being Welsh, Wrexham is a great place to go to. So it's kind of like we love it, obviously. It's like there's an old town full of culture and history. But it probably is very un-American for the Americans, for sure.
I mean, but it's nice to know. And I think Welcome to Wrexham is just like almost any city can just be like rebranded. If you just do something cool, there's
gotta get
investment.
2 Hollywood types and a little bit of money, and I think we can fix any town.
Yeah, no, exactly. It is fun though that with 2 Americans and Hollywood money, but also the history of the football,
Yeah.
right? That is ultimately kind of the trifecta, which I think is really interesting to see and to follow. Obviously, I'm sure all Welsh people know Wrexham's history with football, the oldest football club, kind of all that stuff. And so it is funny to see the modern day world and such a historic thing be able to blend together in such a positive way, you know. But sometimes I see people there. I think Trace and Tannen was there, Shannon Tannen, Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Like, why are you in Wrexham? But that got me. That got me going. That did. I was like, wait, what? Is he
Right,
gonna do
right.
like a striptease at halftime?
Yeah.
I mean,
What is happening?
nobody getting mad at that.
I look, even I'm throwing dollars.
mean,
I know
we got
excellence in performance when I see it. You know?
a couple pounds, a couple pence. I
Yeah,
don't know.
don't be throwing pound coins. That hurts. What do they
Yes,
do at
you're
strip
right.
clubs, actually? That's a great question. What do you do at strip clubs? You got to give everybody a $5?
That I don't know about.
You know what they should
What
put
I
the
do
little
know is-
Apple Pay thing all
Apple
over
Pay-
their body.
Yeah,
So you can tap on the
dude.
part you appreciate the
Hey,
most.
I want to. Wait, hey, where's your QR code? I want to tip you.
I'm zooming in. All right, Jess, this conversation went so much further than we thought it ever would. The point I brought up the Wrexham thing is because I think you've actually done the same thing in a way. You're part of that for NWSL. NWSL and soccer in America was at a point where it was very splintered. And now looking at it, you must look back and go, one, why are these kids getting paid so much? And two, hey, I had something to do with that.
That's funny. I think anybody that is my wonderful generation, that is still in and around football, especially if they're still playing. Of course, you look back and you go, wow. You know, we always knew that it was possible, but knowing and believing in something and it actually kind of taking off and getting to where you believe that it could kind of start to get to is crazy. I mean, you could tell stories of the early days that I think people wouldn't believe it, like truly, you know. And it's really fun to look back and go, do you remember when? And then everyone has their own stories to beat, you know, because that is what it's like. But when you see it now, you're kind of just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
It's
we speak to a lot of players, older, younger, and I think there is a real appreciation. I think when we speak to younger players, we're like, I'm glad you don't have the stories that some of the older players
Yeah.
that some of the old players
I'm
have.
glad you were not getting changed in the bathroom of a high school.
literal.
So, but even now, I mean, now the NWSL playoffs are coming pretty soon, and the Reign are in a pretty good spot. I mean, it's an interesting season. Obviously, we happen to be in Kansas City when the current one, the NWSL Shield.
Yeah, way to bring that up, Christian. Jesus.
Apologies. But I mean, we know what the NWSL playoffs can bring. It is, I feel like just year over year, even if, whether there's some expansion teams or not or whatever, there's not even rivalry is kind of the word, but there's like a much more clear tension between teams, especially going into those playoff games. I mean, sometimes we talk on this show about like, oh, it'd be great if there was like more like vitriol in those rivalries between, let's say, the Reign or
like actual city derbies.
Sure.
Yeah.
But even now, I mean, I see it with like Gotham and Washington Spirit, where they like have historic, like, really tough matches. And then those matches, whether it's a regular season or not, are still pretty intense. But when you look at right now, you guys are, I believe, in fourth place. What are you looking forward to in the playoffs and like getting ready and getting set to have the best position? And also, like, obviously, ending the season with that NWSL trophy.
Yeah, I think to your point, playoffs are just chaos, right? And I think everything goes out the window when it comes to playoffs. You can try as much as you want to be strategic about like where's the best place to land and what does that look like for like round one and then the semis and then, but ultimately, like, it really doesn't matter because when you go into playoffs, like, everything's on the table. It doesn't matter who you play. It doesn't matter where you play. It's just like real carnage. And you just have to best prepare yourself for that carnage. That's the only best way to explain it.
It's more like, yeah, it's like a group therapy, everybody,
Yeah.
before playoffs.
Yeah,
The way you explained it,
literally.
it was like Braveheart the way you just explained it. But it is really.
But that is what it is.
Yeah, playoffs become final after final after final after
Yeah.
final.
Yeah.
And someone like you who, very naturally, even if you don't know your background, you could tell when you're on the pitch, you're a natural leader. But I look back at your career and I remember what Melbourne City, you were asked to be, you were player assistant coach. Coach gets promoted to some other gig.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, you're player and head coach. And you're just like, I got to do it all? Like, you want me to sweep up? What do you want me to do? You are clearly one of these leaders that's like fully prepared at all times. How was that experience? And do you think you use that when you get to something like the playoffs?
That experience was wild.
We could do an hour on just that, it feels like, just from that reaction.
We're talking about therapy. No joking. I think honestly, you just have to go in with the mindset of anything can happen. You're never out of it. You're never out of it. And you just have to really have a good sense of I am going to do whatever I need to do to get this done. And you don't know what that is because what that actually is will change throughout the 90 minutes. And so you have to be super adaptable to what that looks like between minute 1 and 20, 20 and 60, 60 and 80, and then the last 10 minutes of, just absolute carnage and chaos. And you just have to somehow ignore all the noise and just super focus on what is it I need to do in this moment to make sure we win.
Wow.
Okay.
You and I are kind of prepared for that because we grew up in Latin households. So we
Yeah.
calm ourselves while the chaos is around us.
Yeah.
While my mother and
Exactly.
sister are exploring carnage at its highest levels, I can just zoom in and do my homework. So maybe
Exactly.
I got a little Jess Fishlock in me. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there is leadership is definitely something that I feel like when players are just whether you're a veteran player, but there's something specific to you, and it's hard to necessarily pinpoint. But there is a like Alexis is joking during our introduction of we would kind of do whatever you told us to do.
I don't want to let you down.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know we've never actually met, but I really don't want to let you down.
I'm looking like your height says 5'2" on there, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, you don't get people afraid of you and being 5'2" by being polite on the pitch. You know what I mean?
It's so funny that you say that because whenever I see people for the first time who see me in real life and not just on the cameras or in the 90% of people say, "Oh wow, I didn't realize you were so small." And I'm like, what do you mean? I think it's well known globally that I'm pretty small.
Sure.
But they
have an
always
aura.
say that when they see me in real life, I'm like, I must be this big in real life.
You got an aura about you.
Yeah, I mean, this is something as comics who were when we first started working in this industry. It's like, oh, you watch players on TV, and usually NBA or NFL, you're like, oh, they look small, and then you see them in person, they're like gigantic. Soccer players are. They look big, and then you meet them in person, and they're like, you're way small. And this is male, female. They're all smaller than you think.
Much more petite. The clothes are so tight. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they know what they say about the cameras.
Yeah.
I wish we'd get rid of them. Get me a sketch artist in here. I'd be so much thinner. But I look at your career. Obviously, look, you could probably play as long as you want to. Have you started thinking about your post-playing career? And are we going to see you in media? You've got the personality for media. Are we going to see you could be like the Roy Keane, right? Just everything pisses you off. These players aren't strong enough. Or do you see yourself venturing back into the PTSD of being a head coach
Oh yeah, I still have PTSD about that, so I don't know. I I don't know exactly which avenue. I've obviously done some work and got my coaching badges. I'm currently doing a master's and really kind of getting ready for that transition. But I don't know exactly, and I'm not, too pressed on knowing that right now. I do know I'll still be in football in some capacity because I just can't imagine my life without it. Um, but whether I want to be on the grass every day, I just don't know if I have that in me when I finish. But honestly, who knows? I think, I don't know. Maybe I'll be in a boardroom. That might be what it is.
Okay.
Maybe I'll be on the TV. I don't
Executive, wearing a
know.
tie.
Yeah, right. Briefcase.
Get some glasses. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. And then
Interesting.
I did want to ask about when you got married, and obviously just a power couple, you and Tziarra King.
Seriously.
It is and the photos are all fantastic, but there's something I actively really started watching NWSL maybe like 11 years ago, and then there's been a fun part of like getting to know everybody and all the players and things like that. But then the couples come out of the league as well, and then and whether they play on the same team or not, or some couples are like, trade me to that team, I want to go play with my girlfriend and stuff like that.
It's so cool.
But there was a we were talking about your wedding earlier, but it really felt like a real just like, oh, I love that these two people are together. I don't know either of you individually, but there's I see the unit, and it's just like a great just like visually and optically and personalities. It all seems so incredibly positive. And I'm curious about your sort of thoughts on like finding your person. And then you're like happen to be on your team and stuff like that. Like, what? How much do you think about that circumstance and things like that?
Yeah, it's really funny. I'll tell you a little story. It goes time for story time. So, anyway, at the time, COVID had just happened, so I'd gone home on loan to play because I'd just coming back from my ACL, so I needed to play. So I went back home for a bit, and then I came back, and I'd not just finished, but I'd been kind of on my own for over a year. I'd had a long-term relationship that finished, and I was like, I need to be on my own. I can't do this anymore. This is just too hard. Women are difficult.
Okay, you said it, not me, Jess.
Don't be problematic on our show.
I came back with like every intention of just having like, hot lesbian summer,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
Yo, Jess is like, I'm gonna find myself through a multitude of people.
So that was my thought process of my year in Seattle. Tziarra I didn't know at the time. I had exactly the same thought process of what her year in Seattle would be. She just got traded from Utah. She was really excited to just enjoy Seattle and have a hot girl summer. But within a few months, we'd obviously met and spending time together, and we were like, well, here we are.
Yeah.
And
we're both ruining each other's hot lesbian summers.
Yeah. You take down the sign that says "Eat, Play, Love." You're like, I guess I don't need that.
And it was honestly kind of just the easiest kind of building of a foundation and friendship, and then a relationship. And she truly is an exceptional human being, first and foremost. And then everything else is just, a really, really cool bonus. But yeah, she's great. And for me, I always say it's not really a coincidence for me that the last kind of 5 years since we've been kind of together has arguably been my best because I just have a deeper sense of happiness and foundation and purpose, really, because I have someone who I love very much, but she loves me also. And you just have this security and stability that allows you to bloom.
Yeah.
Like,
And you
you
can
know,
build a stronger bond
exactly.
on, especially when you can, you have more space for like family photos,
Yeah.
when you can delete all the dating apps off your phone. You
Oh
know what I
my
mean? So you
God.
have, you have a lot more memories to keep.
Exactly.
A place to
Now you just swipe left or right on your in-laws. Which, you got to invite people to your wedding. You 2-footed. I had people at my wedding. I wish I could 2-foot. You know what I mean? It's so different. You get that release. And my question is though, in these power couples, right? We've spoken to people who both of the people in the marriage play a sport, a professional sport. You guys are kind of playing the same teams and know the same people. Is it easy to not bring that home? Is it difficult? Especially, I picture you, I don't know, maybe you could tell me. I picture you someone who goes home and watches a lot of game tape. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
yeah. Do you have to like separate from that?
It's really funny that you say that because we're actually both the complete opposite when it comes to that stuff. Like, I'll be after a game and I'll be like, I need to debrief this, not only in my head, but I need to debrief it outwards. So I need to talk about it. And I'm such a talker. Like, I love talking through situations to get a better understanding of how it worked and also like why it didn't, right? But Z's the opposite. Z likes to just take some time, relax, and she'll pop into it the day after. So whenever we would play, she would be like, you have 6 minutes.
We're gonna limit this yap fest.
6 minutes? That's not enough. I'm like, I need to yip.
Nah.
I need to yip about it.
Nah.
And the thing is, the 6 minutes would just be me talking to myself.
Look at that. You're already doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Just-
All you need is a microphone.
So whenever I would want a response, she'd be like, 6 minutes is up. Sure. Where are we going for food? And I'm like, okay, yeah.
This is
So-
the worst
I
therapy
love it.
session ever.
No, this is
Your 6 minutes is up.
this is to relate it to comedy a little bit. Our friend Ali Wong, incredibly successful comedian, but she even to this day she'll do a Netflix special, and then she'll walk backstage and go over the jokes. She'll be like, "Oh, I got to work on this one. I got to work on this one," and because she's always analyzed. I mean, this is why she is as successful as she is. But that kind of reminds me of that. You just need to immediately get to the game tape and immediately figure out how to fix this so that you improve the next game. But that level of discipline is if you were married to someone exactly like you, Jess, I do not know how that would go.
Oh my God. Either the most productive or the least productive. It's one of the two.
And I don't think it would work. We're a great balance for each other, to be fair. We're kind of similar, but live our lives independently very differently, which I think really, really helps.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen you talk about this before, but the exchange of cultures. I don't know. I mean, there must be some fun moments, either interacting with family members, trying out different food. What has been like the most fun surprises when it comes to that?
Well, Welsh food has to be an interesting introduction. I know it's all beige, but there's different flavors underneath.
It's true. Z loves an English breakfast.
Okay.
So there's that. Our culture is obviously very different. And we're both we still both very much live within our cultures, if you know what I'm saying. And then they kind of entwine and mesh. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know what this is. And then there's times where she's also kind of like just is like a hard no on some things when we go back home to Wales. Like we have our vision of Chinese food that Z just refuses point blank to accept it as Chinese food or any food.
Well, she's from New Jersey. So
Yeah.
We have.
Alexis is from
I'm
New
born
Jersey.
and raised in Newark, which I know is technically not New Jersey if you're from there, but it was more Alcatraz, not San Francisco. But our Chinese food is very much like New York City Chinese food. It's like American Chinese food, but it's like hood Chinese food is very specific. Like New Jersey kind of has that. Like the Chinese food I always bought came like behind bulletproof glass. You know, like you wipe the steam off of. And then I went to London. I was like, what is this? This ain't got none of the disease that I put in my food. There's no sugar. There's no this. It just doesn't taste the same.
It's funny. Honestly, putting our wedding together too. Like back home, we do like an evening guest situation. So you have your day guests, but then you have evening guests that just come in later. And so
you have subs.
you got concussion substitutions. Right?
So when I was explaining this, she was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, we have people that just come for the evening, the party, and then
like the grandparents will probably there early."
Yeah. And so she was like, "I still don't understand." It took us like a good couple of drafts for the understanding of this is kind of what's happening. And then she would be like, "Well, this is what we do," and I was like, "Well, we're not doing that."
Yeah. Did she explain to you though that in New Jersey they'll just talk shit about you if you don't let them be there for the whole party? It's like I'll be disrespected if. What do you mean I'm not night fun? I'm only day fun.
Yeah, you can't.
No, if you come for the day, you stay the whole time. So you're right. You're all right. Only like later guests that come, you know. So yeah. Anyway,
well,
thing is interesting, but
you guys are.
I would love to see the sitcom. The reality show of you two would be amazing. You talk for 6 minutes. Perfect. That's the intro to the show.
Well, I mean, yeah. Like I said, like you know, I don't want to make it our conversation solely about your relationship, but it is so. It truly is like a. It is fun, and it's a fun sort of byproduct of the league, and that's why it's like I think it connects us with the players even more.
Yeah, helps you relate to the players.
Yeah.
As well.
No, so
humanizes you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then we find out you're not that tall. You know, it's great.
but still a dog out there. Yeah. So we love to see it. Jess, best of luck going into these last few matches of the season. Obviously, the players are coming up, and I'm sure you know the rain usually get pretty far in there, and you're a big reason why that is. So. Thank you as always for joining the show. You're welcome back anytime. We love all the stories, and I'm you know more than I hope you had a good time. I know
I had a good time.
I don't know how many comedy soccer podcasts you do, but this is we got one.
We're the best.
We got one in the books.
We don't need playoffs if you're the only team, baby. Let's go.
We lift the trophy. But Jess Fishlock, absolutely grateful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Shout out Jess Fishlock.
Absolutely the best. I can see why so many people needed to go out to Wales for her wedding. She's just one of the people you wanna root for.
Yeah, I loved. I mean, that was the first time we ever met her. But and whenever we have players on that are sitting in like the club media room doing the thing, they're like. You can see in the beginning, they're like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna do another one of these," and then like
because their locker room and their clothes are so close. They're keys to their cars right there.
Home. Yeah. And then after like chopping it up for 4 or 5 minutes, she's like, "Oh, okay,
yeah, these are the homies.
It's gonna be a little bit different."
Yeah.
So she was great. So shout out to Jess Fishlock. We appreciate it. All right, let's before we wrap up the show, we got one more segment. We got to talk about the one and only Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Let me call him by his government. Okay,
let's go. Yo, he got knighted, right?
That's why we're gonna run that back today because he made some comments. He let's
he was on a podcast, The Business Podcast. What a name, by the way. We should have called ourselves The Soccer Podcast. Okay. You gotta do the soccer podcast.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe was on this podcast talking about business, and he's made a lot of cuts to Manchester United in efforts to save money. And he was talking about one of the cuts that he made was about free lunches for the employees. Well,
you remember there was a time where they would make like staff meal, and then basically goes, you could have whatever's left over from the suites.
Okay.
And it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you say it that
You
way.
can't. Oh, the scraps.
Yeah. Whatever the rich people don't eat, you can have some of it. I don't know if you remember. That's kind of in history. Have you ever had burnt wheat? You ever had burnt wheat bread?
I have not had.
It's like a specific bread that can be made of burnt wheat. There's also burnt wheat pasta that comes from when rich people owned the fields. They would burn the wheat so that those roots didn't grow again. They would plant new wheat.
Okay.
But whatever was left, the people who worked the fields could go and pick and take home. But they used to get beat if they would steal wheat.
Interesting. Okay.
But you're allowed to have the burnt wheat. This kind of feels a little bit like that in that vein of like, yo, whatever we don't like, whatever we spit out, grab whatever's left on the plate, you poor person.
Is Sir Jim Ratcliffe backhanding employees?
What's the lady who was like, yo, let them eat cake? The people are starving.
Yes. It was that Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
Marie Antoinette?
Again, the coupe. You know, the cup you drink like a Manhattan out of?
Okay.
You know what that's designed after?
No, I don't.
Her boob.
Okay.
It's true.
This is a history podcast.
Yeah.
But
And
listen,
speaking of boobs, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said,
he says, quote, I got a lot of flack for the free lunches, but no one's ever given me a free lunch. Buddy.
which I don't think that's true.
Buddy.
Let's just start there.
Ever?
No one ain't, yo, you suck as a person if no one invited you to lunch and said, yo, I got this.
I haven't been on Earth as long as you have, and I got quite a few.
Bro, I made a gang of free lunches, dog.
Okay.
And not even on some like the system provided me free lunches. No, like I've gone out with friends and someone said, hey, it's your birthday. This on
Not
us.
even for Jim Ratcliffe's birthday.
Nah, yo, Jimmy, you got this, but I know you got this.
You good for it, right?
But not fire 8 more people.
I want to keep the streak going. You've never got a free lunch. I want to make sure you can keep saying that.
Yo, in fact, give me $1. Give me $1 for that piece of cracker I gave you in my apartment last week.
Man, no, this is obviously the optics on a statement like this are really bad. The cost cutting measures that he's already made have been pretty intense. So redundancies. So numerous staff have been made redundant, ending the free meals, canceling employee events. He canceled the Christmas parties for Manchester United. They can't even celebrate Christmas anymore.
Hey. Whoa, what do you expect? You expect us to put presents under the tree?
No.
Now, here's the presents. They're pink slips.
He eliminating perks. He got rid of all the company credit cards, requiring staff to pay for expenses upfront before seeking reimbursement. He said, let me see them receipts.
You better prove this was for work. There was a guy when I was in corporate world got fired for spending $40,000 in Vegas on McDonald's for the staff.
I mean,
And let me tell you this. None of us remember getting McDonald's. So you want to get fired quick? Drop 40K at a brothel, my guy.
I don't know.
and then try to make it for McDonald's.
I don't understand what the employees at Manchester United were doing that it was that bad. But
I get the only I'm going to put this one as a positive because now you get the points. You feel me?
the points, yeah, very important.
Yo,
Okay.
free
So
flights.
shout out to
Fly for Christmas because you ain't got no
shout
staff
out to
party.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe thinking about everybody.
I'm just saying.
freaking flying
I'm gonna put
miles.
this one on the pro list. He also reduced benefits.
Yeah. So, meaning the benefits of like the Manchester United Foundation, that former players charity were out. They were getting money. The former players were getting money from the Manchester United.
Yeah, of course.
Foundation.
You know the guys who didn't make any money
Exactly.
and risked their bodies.
And then one of the more high-profile ones was he removed the ambassador role for Sir Alex Ferguson. So instead of
he also fired the historian that'd been there for 40 years. He fired the old lady that sat at the front desk.
Yeah.
There's always an old lady at the front desk.
He saw the historian. He's like, yo, don't remind me of something.
In fact, shh, don't write about this. Don't write about it. You know what? You're fired. How about that? There's no historian.
Hey, give me a pen.
No one can prove this. How much did this pen cost?
So, this is a bad look on top of all the other bad looks. I don't know. Like he's a statement like this it becomes from, hey, I have to do the be the bad guy here and do the like austerity. I don't love doing this, but it has to be done. To a statement like this, where like, hey, I'm a villain. You know what? All the kids in the orphanage, they no more food for them.
Right? Ew, right? What do you mean they don't even have bootstraps to pull themselves up by?
So you don't need to say this. I understand there might be things as the responsible owner that you might have to do. You can't say this.
Look, I've never owned a professional football club, certainly nothing ever at this level. I can understand you could look at it and go, yo, there seems to be a lot of bloat, right, in the expenses, and maybe some people are going to have to get made redundant, which also as an American doesn't feel that it's treated as so much more villainous in the UK than it is here. And they're better for it than we are, by the way.
Sure.
Here, we're like, whatever, you got laid off. You know, hey, you find another job.
Yeah.
Where over there, they're like, how could you do this to our families?
Of course.
And obviously, that is the right approach, right? It's treated so much worse there, and yet he's sort of taking such a callous approach to it. And, you know, the quotes he made after it in this podcast would make you feel like, you know what, you have some good reasoning. I may not agree with it, but you have some good reason. He talks about there's two halves of a football team. This is a quote from the podcast. He said, there's the business side and the sports side. The biggest correlation, like it or not, between results and any external factor is profitability. The more cash you've got, the better squad you can build. It's like a Formula One car. The better car you can build, the quicker you go.
You said all of this already. Why are you saying it again?
I didn't say this on the show.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I said this before we started, and we read it. All right.
You just said this.
Everyone, we're going to come right back, and Christian's going to be wrapped. Yeah, had to have a head wrap and one of those cartoon X's on his cheek with tape.
Why are we hearing the whole thing again? Okay, go for it.
But okay, well, he'll the point I was trying to make. But the reason I was bringing that up is like, if you would have said that, just that, without the you know, Scrooge comment at the beginning, well, I think we'd all be like, we don't like it, but you're the one you own the team. You can make these decisions.
Right.
We can, you know, rally against it. We can say it's terrible, but those are the decisions you have to make. But to sit there and go, no one ever gave me a free lunch. If that's the reason you got rid of the free lunches, you're like, well, this is how dare they ask for free lunch?
Yeah.
When a lot of these people, and we've met people that work for clubs, especially in Europe. First of all, Europeans don't get paid nearly as much. Granted, there's a lot of benefits to living in Europe, like free healthcare and whatnot. So maybe the cost of living isn't like what it is for us. But we've seen some of the money, you know, we've heard some of the money people make in Europe. And especially as New Yorkers, we're like, oh, how could you live? You know, like, oh my God, I'd have 18 roommates in a 2-bedroom, right? And then you take away the cost of living, or the money they make isn't great. The people who work in professional football make so much less than your average employee at a comparable business would, because there's an allure to working for a football club in Europe. There's you grew up as a Manchester United fan, and I think a lot of times these clubs use that to their advantage. They go, oh, well, you grew up a United fan, so instead of paying you whatever it is, $50K a year, I could say 30, and you know what? So you could tell your friends you work for Manchester United, you'll take it. So to rip away some of those additional fringe benefits you get, a Christmas party that maybe one of the two players will show up at, and you could get a photo with them where you're not disturbing their day, you're not going to get in trouble, or you could bring your kid to meet their favorite player, you know, or whatever. Oh, maybe I don't make as much, but hey, we get these great lunches. You know, I haven't paid for lunch during the week in 10 years. You could sit to yourself and go, oh, you know what? There's a few little benefits. To rip all that away, and now you've left it as, to me, that's ripping the soul out of the reason you work for the club. Now there's probably not as much passion to say, I work for Manchester United, because, not only do you not get but now the whole street knows you don't get
now
shit.
the whole streets are like, yo, where you get lunch at?
Damn,
I know it ain't. I know it at the cafe, at the club.
What's your Deliveroo app looking like these days, huh?
I on a bigger level, it's obviously the fact that this club is in this situation is so beyond embarrassing, and I think that is something that should be
it's cringy
talked about a little bit more, like just embrace. But the fact, like, if Manchester United had been relegated 3 times in the last 15 years, I'd be like, okay, I understand, like, they have to make some of these cuts, but for a club this tremendous, this popular,
that their fans call the biggest club in the world,
make this much money, sell all the jerseys and everything.
Al Nassr gives their employees free lunch.
Al Nassr takes care of their people.
Bro, their players are in first class. I'm surprised these players aren't in coach. I'm surprised they're not flying Suncoast. Which is what MLS flies
I'm just
on.
sitting next to Kabi Mainu. Hey, Kabi, what's good, man?
What's going on, dude? Why'd you get the middle seat? That's crazy.
No, I mean, it's a, and the other factor of, like, you mentioned, like, people sort of grow up being fans of these clubs and then work there. But, we've spoken to a lot of people who work at clubs and they've been there a very long time. Like, who've worked there 15, 20 years.
Yep. Sacrificed weekends their whole lives, holidays their whole
just
lives.
so dedicated, and the fact that Manchester United could so easily let go of these people, which so many of those people can't probably have been there a really long time. It's embarrassing that the club has been run to that degree where they get to that point. And maybe that means that the club got sort of like there's like too much bloat. It got too big.
I can't blame you for saying there's too many people for these jobs or whatever. I get that.
It starts as this like family oriented club, and then it becomes incredible. All this money, incredibly.
You create resentment. You create people that don't want to work there. You know what it makes me think back to, and this is the only experience I have of this. I took the tour at the Emirates for Arsenal back in 2012 when I went, and Arsene Wenger was still the manager there. They took us to the presidential box, which is like the box that I don't think it's called the president. It might be called the owner's box, but it's where Arsene Wenger would meet the opposing manager after the game. And this is like the most elaborate box, and it's the top of the top. And the one thing they stressed was this area over here is for the executives of the other team and the families of those executives and coach and whatnot. And over here is for Arsenal. And on this side, even if we play Tottenham, we go out and get flowers of the colors of that team, and they put it out, even if it's Tottenham. And they mention that to say, like, there's a class of, like, you're receiving your opponent and you're a home, you treat them as family, even though you're opponent for 90 minutes. And that class and that the way everyone was treated like a family, you don't get that sense now with Manchester United. You don't get the sense that, like, the classiness of it is upheld.
There's a tradition and a culture that needs to be carried on by someone.
Yeah.
And usually it's the people that have been there a very long time.
Especially when you have your the most profitable year you've ever had, your highest revenue earning year you've ever had. Yeah, you didn't make it into Champions League. That's not the fault of the 300 or so employees that served lunch that got fired.
So, you understand that some of these things, these difficult decisions have to be made. They could work on, their PR a little bit on how they gotta get those.
Yo, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the kind of dude who gives his children $1 for every year they were born as a birthday gift. Hey, here's $33 for you, kid. You're doing pretty good.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Invest it.
I never got $33 when I turned 33, but
it's just like, you know what? You're lucky I can't fire you. You can't fire your children.
All right. Let's wrap it up there, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to Jess Fishlock again for joining us. She is awesome. And hopefully we can have her on back soon and see how, best of luck to the Seattle Reign in the playoffs, unless they're playing Gotham.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We got to go. Christian's got to go sing It's a Wonderful World with the voice of his.
I got my Broadway shows coming up. I got to do it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out also to Street Soccer USA and Borussia Dortmund for inviting us over the weekend. We were hosting the Times Square Cup. We hosted a lot of the youth tournaments, the finals, semifinals.
Yeah, man. So many talented kids, bro.
Some of these kids in the Bronx and Brooklyn.
That Brooklyn futsal crew is crazy good.
And the boys and girls side.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the talent was crazy. I mean, seriously, some of these, like, step overs and soul rolls and everything. And like it was a 4v4 game, but some of the skill was incredible. Where it was raining for a lot of the day, and so the floor was a little slippery. But people were like, there was a little step over. People would be sliding. There was sliding into the M&M store. Bro.
They're on the carousel.
They were cooking them. So it was great to see, and it is very motivating when you see.
And more spirited than when the adults played. It was all arguing and shoving. These kids were just getting after it, bro.
Just fighting for balls and everything. Man.
Shouts to the parents and the coaches that brought these kids out.
It was beautiful to see, man. Just the level of talent, the level of diversity that New York soccer has to offer was awesome to see, and we were honored to be able to call that and just get to experience that a bit. So shout out to Street Soccer USA and Borussia Dortmund for that. All right. Everybody, make sure you hit the like.
Also, Roman Weidenfeller got some skills on the dance floor,
Roman Weidenfeller was dancing to Alpha.
And he didn't seem out of place at all.
Okay. I didn't know the Germans had swag like
Yeah,
that.
bro.
Some of them.
Das que lo que.
Das dímelo.
Damn. Das de lo mío, bro.
I love it. All right. Make sure you hit like on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe as well. Follow us on our socials at Soccer Cooligans so you can find us very easily and follow along with the journey that is the Cooligans, especially going into this World Cup. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on Thursday with the brand new. We have Foudy on Thursday. No, we don't have Foudy on Thursday.
All right, cut that
Cut
part.
that part out. We don't have anybody on Thursday. Oh, we have Nick Romando.
Nick Romando's on Thursday.
Nick Romando is joining us on Thursday's episode, so make sure you tune into that. All right. Take care, everybody. See you Thursday. Peace.
Love you guys.
The Times World Cup was fantastic.
So great.
It was so fun, so entertaining. And one of the people who played in the Times World Cup was Kid Super. Kid Super, you can watch our interview with him that we just did a couple days ago. It was fantastic. Go check it out if you click on my face.
Yeah. Hey, you want to subscribe? Click on my face.